Welcome into the box score. Terry Collins along with Murphy Fair. And Murphy, we are thinking basketball. A lot of people, I'm sure, turning into DTC 3, anxious to see the Christmas parades. And they're all pretty.
Probably so. It's a big deal in these small communities, and they're all pretty impressive.
We want to thank Carthage Safeway, our title sponsor, for sponsoring the box score. And Murph, we've gotten into really the holiday tournaments. They're starting either this week, next week, or the week during Christmas. And a lot of teams anxious to go toe-to-toe against teams that they don't normally see.
2 or 3 different states. Teams in our coverage area are going to be going. I know there's a big one in Florida that Smith County's boys and girls, I think, are going.
136 teams in that tournament. Of course, not everybody's playing everybody. There's 8 per venue, per section, I guess you'd say. But a big Tampa Bay Christmas Invitational to Smith County girls.
It will be interesting to see how Smith County's girls react to having a game at 7:30 in the morning.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be different after traveling the day before, a 12, 13-hour drive.
They might as well just stay up all night.
Yeah, I guess.
Play before they go to bed.
Matt Farrell and Chelsea Tucker has got in store. Let's go ahead and look at our featured game, which was Smith County at Gordonsville, the second time in 8 days. Smith County girls get the win, 53-35. Sophomore Emery Jones leads the way with 17. Carly Ramsey's a senior. She had 13. Gordonsville was led by Mackenzie Herron with 11. Murphy's always a great atmosphere. You can kind of throw records out the window when these two teams meet. But I know Smith County was glad to get the win, not only at home, but on the road as well.
Absolutely. We saw a game, I think last night or night before, that was on DTC that was at Gordonsville. And that's the first time my wife had seen the gymnasium at Gordonsville. And I said, come a long way since I first moved here. That old gym was kind of like the one you see in Hoosiers, you know.
Right. And seats only on one side of the floor where there's 2. And they keep that gym well. And we'll talk about the DTC Christmas Classic coming up in a Christmas tournament that's coming up here for the end of the week and the first of next week, right before Christmas. And I know DTC is excited about that as well. Looking at the boys' side of the game, Gordonsville gets the sweep of the Owls, 62-47, the final there. Carter Gibson, another outstanding night after really going wild against the Owls in Carthage at Bill Landers Gym in front of a packed house. Finishes 25 points, including 3 threes, and then Brody Sykes has 12. Smith County really struggled shooting the ball. Cooper Williams, the freshman, had 13. Taylor Wilmore with 9. That makes the Gordonsville Tigers sweep the season series, where last year the Owls won both meetings. And that's always a feather in your cap when you can look across the Christmas table at Grandma Judy's house and have a little glimmer in your eye because you beat your cousin, which was on the other side.
Oh, yeah. And that probably happens more times than not, much more times than people might think.
Let's go ahead and look at the scores presented by Pavement Restorations Incorporated. We appreciate them sponsoring that on the girls' side. You see that Smith County win over Gordonsville, 53-35. The Lady Owls did win. Broke open from a 6-point lead at halftime at home to win that one by 30 plus. But then the shocking score there is Trouser County, after Gordonsville had won by 7 at home. Trouser County in Hartsville last night beats the Gordonsville Tigerettes 50-33 to drop them to 3-6.
That's a 24-point turnaround.
That is correct, Murph. It is. Let's go ahead and look at the Gordonsville boys. Greg Bibbs got them playing well. They got the win over the Owls by 15. And then last night put a whooping on the Yellow Jackets to improve to 7-1. I think it was 30 or 31-0 before Trouser County even scored.
Wow.
It's just a big win for the Tigers. And usually that's a close game. But last night, Ryan Sleeper's team struggled to score.
I guess Gordonsville's that strong and Trousdale's that weak. A little combination of both, right?
Looking at the Cannon County girls, Ashley Patrick, their head coach, they get the win over Grundy County, 52-42, and then they get the win over Central Magnet, 48-28, to improve to 7-3. Looking at Jared Nave, a guy that we'll have on just a little bit later. On the boys' side of Cannon, they got a close win. Cannon's boys, Murphy, but Jared Nave, he's got them playing pretty well.
Yeah, 10-2 overall, I think, and a knockdown drag out against Grundy County. As I understand it, Grundy County went to the free throw line in the closing 1 or 2 seconds of that game and missed both free throws to avoid an overtime or an out-and-out loss. So Cannon County 1-0 in the district right now, and it wouldn't surprise me if Cannon and Grundy face each other in the district tournament finals.
Then Cannon gets the big win over Central Magnet, improved to 10-2, and Jared Nave will welcome the Owls of Smith County High the night that we air this show, and that'll be our Huff and Puff Trucking Game of the Week here on DTC Sports. I know that's an old district battle. It'll go back to being a district battle next year,
right,
when I believe it's York, Monterey, Smith, and Cannon are in a 4-team district. And that's always been a big rival.
And you and I will do that game together on opposite sides of the floor.
True.
Right?
That is true. Let's go ahead and look at the DeKalb girls. Looking what they did this week, they got a big win over Warren County, 40-37. Was a lot more competitive at Watertown. Watertown remains unbeaten. DeKalb lost by 18 at home, 58-40, game that Seth Hackett and I did. So they stand now at 3-7. We'll have Brandy Alley on the show a little bit later to do an interview. Looking at the DeKalb boys, they win against Warren County 60-44. Of course, they beat Coach Fish, Danny Fish, who used to be at DeKalb County, is now with the girls. Now he's with the boys for the Pioneers. That's always a big rivalry game, Murphy. McMinnville and Smithville, they're on the same highway. I think it's Highway 56. That's always a big game. And then they travel down Highway 70 and hold Watertown to only 20 points in a big 49-20 victory.
Cannon County played at DeKalb County a couple of weeks ago, I guess, and that night they dedicated the gym floor to Coach Luna, who was over there, Harold Luna, for decades, I guess. I can remember him when I first moved to Smith County.
And of course, he was the coach when I played against DeKalb County back in 1984. Looking at Smith County girls, they pick up a couple of big wins. They go to Gordonsville and win, and then 3 nights later they head to Beach. It was tied at halftime, but they get the 51-42 win to improve to 8-3. A big matchup with Cannon County, as we said earlier on that game of the week. That's two teams that should be pretty evenly matched. Should be a great game in Woodbury.
That's a big feather in Smith County's cap. Beach usually has a pretty strong girls program, has over the years, and I think they're a 4A team. So
they are, correct.
That's stepping up 2 classifications, and that's got to be a big win for Smith County this year.
Smith County boys continuing to struggle. They've lost 4 games in a row. They lost at Gordonsville by 62-47, and then last night it was 69-34. Beach with the win. Smith County missed its first 18 shot attempts of the game.
Oh no!
Got behind 33-11 at halftime. Came back, had a decent third quarter, outscored Beach by 2, but then the last quarter, then they were outscored 23-8 for the runaway victory. And of course, Beach is a very, very athletic team. Let's go ahead and look at the Watertown girls, probably the surprise team, Murphy, of the teams that we cover. They're sitting there at 8-0 under Coach Brenna Price. They get a big win over Trousdale, 48-41. They beat Boyd Christian, 60-31. And then they beat DeKalb at home, 47-38. A little tougher go than it was at DeKalb when they won by 18. But for Coach Price and her husband Seth, who's her assistant, a great start, best start Watertown's had in many years.
I know a lot of people got to be awfully proud of those girls, how they're playing right now, and hopefully that'll hold up well into the district tournament here in another month or so.
Watertown boys, Kevin Honeycutt's team beats Trousdale 68-49. Then they get the win over the Broncos. And I don't remember, that may have been at the Bronco Barn in McMinnville, 59-38. And then really struggled to score in a 49-20 loss to DeKalb County, the second time that those teams have met in about a week and a half period. Speaking of Cannon County, we'll talk with the boys' head coach, Jared Nave, when we return to the box score, brought to you by Carthage Safeway.
Your trusted friend for all your grocery needs in Smith County is Carthage Safeway, your home-owned and home-operated supermarket. From the delicious USDA steaks in their meat department to the freshest produce around, Carthage Safeway is proud to serve you and your family. Todd and Angela Skurlock and everyone at Carthage Safeway are always there with a friendly smile and a helping hand. Great service, prices, and selection. That's Carthage Safeway, 80 Dixon Springs Highway, Carthage.
Friendly, traditional banking at its best. It's what our customers have learned to expect at Citizens Bank, and we're always happy to deliver, with plenty of options for personal and commercial checking accounts, as well as a variety of loan types. We can help you achieve your financial goals, all with a friendly hometown smile. Citizens Bank at 407 Main Street and 61 Dixon Springs Highway in Carthage, 70 Cookville Highway in South Carthage, and 530 Gordonsville Highway in Gordonsville. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Do you ever worry about the safety of your home when you leave? Or at night while you're sleeping? Then give your home a professional security makeover with help from DTC Security.
For just $49.99, get a system with a touch keypad, 3 window or door sensors, motion detector, key fob, and standard installation. There's never been a better time to get started.
Contact us and start your home's DTC Security makeover today.
Hello, I'm Bruce Daniel. I've lived in Cannon County all my life. For the last 59 years, I've only made it across the highway. I married my wife, Melody, in 1981. We hauled our first load of freight in 1983 with one truck and a couple old barred trailers. We found a way to make it. Our employees are the backbone of our company. Some of our team members have been with us for more than 30 years.
And welcome back to the box score. We've got Carthage Safeway as our title sponsor. We want to thank them, Terry Collins, along with Murphy Fair. And we've been joined by Jared Nave, the Cannon County boys head coach. And coach, off to a 10-2 start, and you played some very tough competition.
We have. We kind of went into the season knowing, hey, we kind of got to bolster what we've did in the past years because we trying to get back where we got to last year. And so to do that, you got to keep challenging yourself every night. And especially, our district's always going to be tough. Region's going to be tough. So really got to challenge yourself, especially early and often, to prepare yourself for all that good stuff.
Coach, looking at the Cannon Courier this morning, I saw that right now you guys are riding an 8-game win streak. That's pretty nice. Pretty nice to have this stage of the season, given who you've played so far.
Well, we'll take it. I don't, it's funny, I don't really necessarily look at winning streaks, I just look at the next one. So, no matter how many you won or how many you lost, I don't think you can look too far ahead or look too far behind. I just think you kind of worry about one game at a time and really just take it from there.
Coach, on Thursday night, a very familiar team comes to town under a first-year head coach. Smith County reeling a little bit right now. They've lost 4 in a row and got blowed out at Beach last night by 35. Last year at your place, you won big at Carthage, but then last year at your place, the game went down to the final seconds. Neither team played well. The game was in the 40s, but it seems to me this year your offense has not sputtered and has played well for you about every game.
Yeah, and, just to speak on Smith County for a second, I think I've kind of gotten to know Lane just a little bit, and really he's done a really good job. They run some really good stuff, got some really nice players. They're young, but they're energized. And they may have sputtered a little bit here, but if you look at some of their competition that they've played, it's really good teams. So a lot of times you can't live in a results-based world, that they're getting better every day, and just me watching tape, and I have seen them live one time. It's going to be a good game tomorrow night. I foresee them coming out, being ready to play, and, it almost seems like Smith County and Camden County are almost rivals, I guess you would say. It always seems to come down to maybe a couple last shots. I know we got them good one time last year, but I foresee it to be a pretty good game, and I think Lane is doing a really good job in what he's starting to build over.
Jared, I had one of my, I think, more interesting interviews with you earlier this month when we were talking about chemistry. And that's one of those things that you can be on the floor all day, every day, but it's not necessarily on the floor which makes good chemistry within a team. If you don't mind sharing with me once again what you did, about things that you do that help bond the kids with each other and make them a team instead of a bunch of me's, if you know what I mean.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest things is you just always emphasize, I call it the dirty work. So, if somebody makes a really good pass, it may get an assist, or maybe the guy who makes the second pass. Some of that stuff doesn't get showed up in the stat sheet, but really the guy who gets the assist, and it's really making sure I call it a pocket pass. Right in the shooting pocket where they're able to catch and shoot. And people don't realize just how much a percentage matters on a really good pass. And so we really emphasize those things, whether it's taking charges, whether it's making sure getting off the help, or communication, or maybe somebody who sets a really good screen to get us a shot and get us open. It's just as much as their 2 points as the person who scored it. Now, it don't show up in the paper that way, but people who set the picks are just as valuable as people who score, and maybe the average fan doesn't see it. But, for me, if you're good at setting screens, you're playing defense, or good at making the perfect pocket pass, you're very valuable to our team.
Also being valuable are those guys on the bench. They may not necessarily get a lot of playing time, but they can be a part of the game just by cheering those on who are on the floor, can't they?
Sure, and it's as much as either counting down late clock, or when we go through walkthroughs, it's as much as them calling out the plays, maybe the other team's running, that we're running, and that's just taking time and valuable film study, walkthroughs, and so that's just letting me know, hey, if I put player A in the game, I know they're engaged, and I know they know exactly what we're doing, what they're doing, and when you do that, the game seems to slow down for you, and I ain't going to say it's easy, because there's nothing easy about the game of basketball, but it kind of slows it down for the players and helps not only themselves, but also helps us out as the team, as you referred to.
Coach, when you look at your team, you think of Eli Pelham, you think of Antonio Jones that have started for 3 or 4 years or had a lot of playing time. You look at Lucas Phillips, you look at Eli Garrett, people that we're familiar with. Of course, you got I say the freshman sensation and the Alexander kid that's a very talented kid. Blending all those together is something that Jared Nave and his staff do well. I will say that as a friend. I'll say that as a basketball analyst. I've seen a few games through the years. But to do that every year, sometimes it's a senior-laden squad. Sometimes you've got to mix some youngsters in there, which makes the older kids, I don't know if you would say disgruntled, because they're not getting playing time in a freshman or sophomore is. But you have seemed to do an excellent job of keeping everybody on the same page.
Well, and back to your point, I got such a great staff here with me. There's no way I could do it by myself, and you got to have really good players, and you got to have people buying in, to what we're doing. I don't care what grade you're in. If you work really hard in the off season and practice, and obviously in the games, and you can help us as the team win, you're going to get some run. And every year, as you kind of said it, you have different players, and you may have, as you said, some familiar names returning, but they may have different roles now. Now, instead of having a backseat role, now maybe you have to take the reins and you're getting more shots, or you're getting more control. You have to be more the vocal guy or vocal leader. And so that's what's the fun and the challenge of getting all these kids to play together. And, you know, not to say disgruntled people, but man, if you're getting outworked by somebody else, maybe it's your time to outwork them, you know, and that's kind of something that gets evaluated every day in practice, games, even in the junior varsity games. We're always evaluating, and if you start playing well, you got your chance to play. You always have your chance. And so really you kind of just blend all that good stuff, and, you know, when you have a really good staff, and people just do not know what a really good staff means, you know, to the players, to me especially, and when you have really good kids and you have good players, that obviously helps too. But that's kind of not the key, but all that obviously contributes, and it helps out a whole lot.
Jared, watching from the sidelines like I do every time you line up for a ball game, I see things maybe that the common fan doesn't necessarily, or certainly the visiting team doesn't necessarily know. If you've got a really hot three-point shooter, that's who the opposition's gonna lead with, as far as not, you know, denying him the basketball. But all 5 of your starters are excellent three-point shooters, and that just makes it extremely difficult for the opposition, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of just preached every day in practice. You know, it's really hard for just one guy or even 2 guys to just solo carry every night. Now, does it happen sometimes? Absolutely. You know, it's just kind of the way sports happen. But you have to be a threat if you're in the game. If you're a threat, it at least makes the defense honor you, and that opens up space for everybody. So if you're not looking towards the basket, or if you're not working on your game, you know, when we in practice, we shoot a lot, we do a bunch of individual things, and I'm kind of more of a player development kind of coach. I just think that's very important. I think even when you say, hey, this kid's really good, well, there's always room for improvement, whatever that is. But when you can do that and kind of put it all together, it obviously does help a whole lot.
Well, Coach Jared Nave, we appreciate you visiting with us. Look forward to seeing you on Thursday night when the Owls and Lady Owls travel over to Woodbury, and as you make another state tournament run. Good luck.
Gentlemen, I appreciate you. Thank you for having me on.
Thanks, Jared.
We've been visiting with Jared Nave, the Cannon County head coach, and we'll have head coach Terry Brock of the Gordonsville Tigerettes when we return, as we remind you, you're watching The Box Score, brought to you by Carthage Safeway.
Friendly, traditional banking at its best. It's what our customers have learned to expect at Citizens Bank, and we're always happy to deliver, with plenty of options for personal and commercial checking accounts, as well as a variety of loan types. We can help you achieve your financial goals, all with a friendly hometown smile. Citizens Bank at 407 Main Street and 61 Dixon Springs Highway in Carthage, 70 Cookeville Highway in South Carthage, and 530 Gordonsville Highway in Gordonsville. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Why do our customers choose Homeland Community Bank? Because we're committed to providing top-quality financial services while focusing on those personal banking relationships that treat you like the friends and neighbors that you are. From checking and savings to loans of all types, including those focused on business, Homeland Community Bank is truly ready to meet your needs. Contact us today to make the switch to better banking. Homeland Community Bank. Banking by the people, for the people. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
At DTC, we're constantly looking at ways to improve your quality of life, to help you make the most of all your connections, so that you'll have time for the things that matter most, whether at work or play.
Score the best connection with internet that slays. Receive a free month of service when you add or upgrade your internet package with DTC. It's a great time to get started.
Call or visit DTC online today and make the most of your connections.
Your trusted friend for all your grocery needs in Smith County is Carthage Safeway, your home-owned and home-operated supermarket. From the delicious USDA steaks in their meat department to the freshest produce around, Carthage Safeway is proud to serve you and your family. Todd and Angela Skurlock and everyone at Carthage Safeway are always there with a friendly smile and a helping hand. Great service, prices, and selection. That's Carthage Safeway, 80 Dixon Springs Highway, Carthage.
Welcome back to the Box Score, brought to you by Carthage Safeway. Terry Collins, Murphy Ferry, Justin Malden, always doing a great job for us behind the scenes. And we're with first-year head coach for the Gordonsville Tigerettes, Terry Brock. First of all, Coach, appreciate you taking time to visit with us.
No, thank you for having me.
I know this being your first year, things are sometimes different from being an assistant coach to a head coach. How much of a shock has it been for you?
Well, I wouldn't say that it's been a shock. I've had head coaching roles, just never at the high school level. So it's very similar. It's just there's a little bit more time that goes into, I would say, the strategic part of it, scouting and talking more about personnel. That's the only thing. It's just a little bit more time consuming than the head coaching roles that I had at the junior high level.
Coach, I've been living in the Upper Cumberland for a long, long time, and if you follow high school sports and talk about Sparta in the same sentence, you've got to mention the Brock name. And you told us just before we came on air that that's your dad and uncle. They both played there at Sparta and were pretty good basketball players, if I remember correctly.
Yes, sir, that's correct. So my dad and my uncle both competed on teams that actually went to the state tournament themselves. And so in high school, they went to the state tournament, and that was really cool because when I was in high school, we went to the state tournament 3 out of the 4 years that I was in Sparta at White County High School. And then our son, who graduated in 2023, his senior year, their team went to the state tournament as well. So it's been neat to see that, and it's good for all of us to experience that. And that's something that I hope, moving forward in the future, my teams will get to experience that, because I think it's just a wonderful environment at Murphy Center there.
Coach, when you look at the district that you play in, it's a very, very tough one. You've got the defending Class A state champion in Pickett County in there, and when you throw in the all-time winningest girls coach in state history in Lamar Rogers, it's there. You look at Clay County, you've got Red Boylan and yourself. So it's tough just to get to the region and be in that 4, and you got to feel like if you get there with the way that you can hopefully overpower the teams that are in the other side of the region in the other district, that that you make it advance.
Yeah, and that's our goal. I think that this district, like you said, it's full of talent, but not only talent, but there are some excellent coaches in our district. And I think it is an honor to compete in that district against those teams that have those talented players and the veteran coaches. And then the coaches, of course, like you said, Coach Rogers, he has just that rich tradition, that rich history. And then Coach Smith, his team has proven themselves time and time again. And, they're coming. I know they're looking for a repeat from last year, and I definitely think they have the personnel to do so. So I look forward to playing those teams. I think it's an honor when you get to compete in a district like that every night a team is going to bring you their best. And I look forward to being able to compete against them. I know that there are going to be battles, and I hope that my girls are prepared and ready to be able to compete with them when we roll into district play in January.
Coach, the names you mentioned, your dad and your uncle, and then your son too, I think, you probably feel like you've been around basketball your entire life, but what things maybe have surprised you about being a head coach in this your first year that may have set you back just a moment, saying, oh, I forgot about that, or something along those lines?
Well, there's definitive moment that stands out to me that is a surprise. I think one of the things that has been an adjustment for me is a little bit when you're the head coach. Of course, you take full responsibility, and I take pride in what I do, and my goal every night is to come out with the win. I think the biggest hurdle is just a little bit seeing inconsistency. And as the head coach, of course, you carry that weight, and you always question about what could I have done differently. And I know my girls, I tell them all the time, and, as players, you make mistakes as turnovers, but as a coach, I know each night there are mistakes that I make too. And I think that's been one of the surprises, not really surprise, but I guess the biggest adjustment for me is giving myself a little grace and knowing that I'm going to make a lot of mistakes too. And I just hope with experience, and then the more time that I'm together with this new team, that we are able to be more consistent.
Well, I've always said a coach, be it a male or a female, puts their head on that block, if you will, every time they step onto the floor or the field, because you're relying on 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old kids, and you could be the best coach in the world, but when it's what they do that keeps you going, it's kind of a tough fight, if you know what I mean.
Oh, absolutely. We have that conversation a lot where, and like I said, I make mistakes every game, but I tell them, you've got to use the tools that are in your toolbox. I can give you those tools, but it is up to you to reach in that toolbox, grab that tool, and use it. And that's just where that's repetition. It's practice to where it becomes habit. And I feel like that my team is definitely improving with that. But you're right. I mean, ultimately, we can give them all the tools, but it's up to them when they're on the court. And basketball is one of those sports where there are hundreds of quick decisions that have to be made throughout the game. And sometimes, and there's no way to play a basketball game without making a mistake. So sometimes I tell my girls, I'm like, I know it's tough because you've got to be a quick decision maker. And there's nothing, unless it's a dead ball or a foul or it's the end of a quarter, there's no time to reset or rethink. And so that's why I tell them, you've always got to be ready to make that next decision.
Coach Brock, your team went to Bill Lander's gym Friday night before last, and that was truly a special atmosphere. The gym was packed. You played an excellent first half, struggled to score and turned it over a little bit in the second half. But most high school kids, Coach, never get an opportunity to play in that kind of environment. And your team, I know, had to just to be in that moment and to get the opportunity to play in front of family and friends and peers and all that, that's got to help your basketball team down the road. I know you didn't have the success you wanted, but to play in that environment, a lot of kids never get that chance.
Oh yeah, that's a special environment to play in. And those rivalry games, they bring a little bit of extra weight. But that being said, for the community to be there and to show up to support our program, and not only us, but Carthage there, both of them showing up, I think that is a very special environment. I think it's great for kids to play in front of packed gyms like that. And you're exactly right there when you say that, we did play a good competitive first half. We did not have the second half game like I wanted, but that's the ebb and flow of it. There comes back the inconsistency. But I think it was really good for our fans to see us compete the first half of that basketball game. I wish the second half would have been different, but the takeaway from that is we had to learn. We had to look at how we played such a good first half and then the deficiencies in the second half. And all you can do is move forward and learn from it. But I really did appreciate the community support. And, me growing up, being from White County, and how a lot of our games were in front of a crowd like that, I know that for me, that was a special feeling. And I know for these girls it was too, and I just appreciate the community coming out and supporting us.
Coach, I know at times this year you've struggled to score. You've got a new system that you've had since May to put in, but I feel like you're making strides for that. I know confidence sometimes is hard to inject into a player, but best of luck to you and your team. Looks like you're making those strides, and hopefully by the first of the year, after the DTC Christmas Classic, you and your team will start to play its best basketball.
Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
We've been visiting with Terry Brock, the Gordonsville Tigerettes' first-year head coach. And when we return, we'll have Brandy Alley from DeKalb County as we remind you you're watching the Box Score presented to you by Carthage Safeway.
Your trusted friend for all your grocery needs in Smith County is Carthage Safeway, your home-owned and home-operated supermarket. From the delicious USDA steaks in their meat department to the freshest produce around, Carthage Safeway is proud to serve you and your family. Todd and Angela Skurlock and everyone at Carthage Safeway are always there with a friendly smile and a helping hand. Great service, prices, and selection. That's Carthage Safeway, 80 Dixon Springs Highway, Carthage.
If you're a commercial driver looking for a company to call home, Huff and Puff Trucking is the company for you. Our employees are professional and dedicated individuals that take pride in what they do. We offer an outstanding pay package with a dispatch structure that maximizes your home time. To learn more about a company that knows you by name and treats you like family, call us at 1-800-965-5033 or visit our website at huffpufftrucking.com.
Do you ever worry about the safety of your home when you leave? Or at night while you're sleeping? Then give your home a professional security makeover with help from DTC Security.
For just $49.99, get a system with a touch keypad, 3 window or door sensors, motion detector, key fob, and standard installation. There's never been a better time to get started.
Contact us and start your home's DTC Security Makeover today.
Why do our customers choose Homeland Community Bank? Because we're committed to providing top-quality financial services while focusing on those personal banking relationships that treat you like the friends and neighbors that you are. From checking and savings to loans of all types, including those focused on business, Homeland Community Bank is truly ready to meet your needs. Contact us today to make the switch to better banking. Homeland Community Bank. Banking by the people, for the people. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
And welcome back to the Box Score. We've been joined by Brandy Alley, the DeKalb County girls head coach, and we want to thank Carthage Safeway for sponsoring, being a title sponsor. And Coach Alley, welcome in.
Well, thank you for having me.
Coach, I know that when you look at your team, you're preparing them for a brutal district stretch, which will really get started in earnest once the first of the year comes. But there's no easy road. I think that's in District 7 AAA.
There is absolutely not. The teams in our district and the coaches in our district are going to be a battle every night, and trying to get our preseason looking like what it would look like in games so we can get adjustment for it.
Brandy, having done Cannon County basketball the last couple of years, I was scared to death when we came to Smithville not long ago. Your girls played exceptionally well, I thought, that night, especially on defense. Cannon County was 11 of 41 from the field, and they shot 8 3-pointers and missed all 8 of them. Your defense was awesome.
Well, thank you. My girls definitely have heart for when they play. They try to get after it a little bit.
Coach, when you look at your team, I know everybody's kind of used to Chloe Van Vranken and Avery Agee and Allie Melton. Of course, you got Jordan Agee, the freshman, younger sister of Avery. I know that, they're kind of been your kingpins in trying to get things going this year and have been leaders for your squad.
There has been, and then we've had some injuries with sophomore Lily Young, who was starting for me for a little bit. But she should be back playing soon, and I do think our other freshman, Millie Barton, has stepped it up quite a bit this last few games. And it's just finding out how everybody's growing and changing and trying to change the team around it too.
Coach, you've got an awfully young basketball team too. I think there's just 1 or 2 seniors on your squad. So that kind of makes it tough when you got so many young faces out there, doesn't it?
It does, but it also kind of brings a lot of hope for the future. We are graduating 2 seniors, and Caroline Crook is our other senior besides Avery. And she's been dealing with some shoulder injuries, and she's also a brand new face for us this year. So looking out, there's a lot of kids that everybody's trying to figure out who they are, and these kids are hungry to develop, and so it's really hopeful to see a young group, even though it's a little struggling sometimes playing currently, but there's always a lot of growth with a young group.
Coach, you went to Watertown and played them last night. I know you were disappointed in talking to you before the Smith County game, but with how you performed at home against Watertown last night, a much closer game instead of an 18-point game. I think it was in single digits. So it sounds like you went on the road and played much better.
As long as there's improvement every game, you should be able to start seeing it in the scoreboard. I was not very happy with how we played at Watertown the first time at our house, but we did play harder the second game. We just had some mental moments that kept us from doing better the second quarter, but played with a lot more heart and got after it, and I think the score showed that a little bit more.
Randy, I know you, didn't you play for one of the schools in Cumberland County, maybe?
Riverdale, wasn't it? Was it
I coached with Mike Buck up in Cumberland County at Stone Memorial and Ronica Miller up in Cumberland County High School when she was there. I graduated and played for Riverdale.
Okay, well that's fine. Where I was headed was, at what point in your lifestyle or life or whatever did you think, well, maybe I might want to be a basketball coach?
I swore up and down that when I was graduating college that I was never going to be a coach, that my parents and grandparents were coaches, and I didn't want to do that. And I lasted about 3 months after shoulder surgery without a ball in my hand, and I just couldn't do it anymore. I love the sport and started training kids right away, and then just fell in love with it and knew it was something I needed to be doing.
Coach, we talked about District 7 AAA. Of course, you look at White County, you look at Stone, you look at Upman, 3 premier teams that probably got a great shot to be ranked in the state, and the toughness of that. I know you just got to take baby steps and try to improve little by little, because those are very, very talented teams that not only could win the district, but could win the region and win the state.
Absolutely, and they've got some good leadership with their coaches in front of them too. So there's going to be little victories we're looking for, but I do think that my team's going to give them more of a run than some people are thinking when we start going after it. But this district is just, some of the players in it and some of the coaches in it just blow your mind of how solid they are through and through.
What, as a coach, what do you enjoy most about what that goes along with being a head coach? Regardless of sport, there's got to be some things that just really stand out, and then maybe the things that are tougher for you to deal with on a regular basis.
I think that kind of goes hand in hand. The satisfying part and the tough part. I really enjoy helping kids understand how to grow. I do think that there's a lot of battles that happen on the court, off the court, and being someone that can help the kids shoulder the weight of some of the stuff they're experiencing. A lot of people forget that teenagers are experiencing some of the stuff we've had in life the first time, and it's they don't know how to approach it. So being someone that can give them a different look and help shoulder some of the weight they're dealing with, and then watching them grow and develop on and off the court is just very rewarding and very challenging at the same time, especially when you want to handle something differently than, I'm not really emotion-based. I'm very logical, and seeing some of different personalities, it's hard to mastermind, but that's a challenge and a satisfaction at the same moment.
Randy, I know in being with the 2 coaches you did in Cumberland County, playing at Riverdale and the success that they had, and really rising to the top of the Class AAA. I know being part of that success, you kind of pull from each situation you're in, and that makes you the head coach that you are today. Is there one person in particular maybe that you've gleaned a lot of things from that you maybe modeled your program after?
I'm a lot of bias when it comes to that, but it's the way my dad coached. He coached with Coach Buck starting off, and my dad has been a coach for a long time, and so has my grandparents. So there's a lot of things I start opening my mouth and I hear them come out a lot. I will say, though, with the coaches I've had, probably Coach Mike Buck is one of them that I constantly think a lot of like. So it's hard coaching against him when you look up to him like that, but there's a lot of great coaches that have taught me a lot of great things, and continuously to this day give me mentorship and help me, and I'm constantly trying to grow and be as good as they are one day.
Based on what you said in the last couple of questions, it sounds like there's no doubt in your mind that you made the right choice when you decided you wanted to be a high school coach. Would that be a fair statement?
It's tough, you always, when it's the hard days, you always question, what am I doing? Did I do this right? Am I good enough at it? But I just try to always look at how I can make an impact on somebody. And hopefully I am, and hopefully it's going to be positive. I know not everybody will take everything positively as a coach. Your decisions get viewed as negative or positive depending on what's going on. But I try to, and I try to keep living up to some of those around me, and it has been a good decision and a tough decision all in one.
Coach, when you look, and we talked about, Upland, the success they had, I think, they always go deep in the state tournament. You've got White County, who kind of flames out, and I don't mean that bad toward Coach Dodgen, but they are ranked a lot of times number 1 in 4A, but then they get the tournament, unlike when he was at Cannon County, always pulling surprises. They've had a tough time going deep, but when you look at Cumberland County and the other schools that you competed against in the district, it's trial by fire.
It is, and Livingston's another battle that goes deep most of the time as well. White County this year, if you start looking at their player and how they've grown, it's going to be a very tough trial. But there again, it's whichever team wants to make a run in this district is going to do pretty well, just because they're competing against tough challenges every single night we get out there.
Well, Coach Brandy Alley, we appreciate you being with us from the DeKalb County girls team. Merry Christmas to you, and best of luck.
Thank you. Merry Christmas, y'all.
Okay, and we've been talking with Brandy Alley, and we'll have some upcoming scores, preview the upcoming games when we return to the Box Score, presented to you by Carthage Safeway.
Why do our customers choose Homeland Community Bank? Because we're committed to providing top-quality financial services while focusing on those personal banking relationships that treat you like the friends and neighbors that you are. From checking and savings to loans of all types, including those focused on business, Homeland Community Bank is truly ready to meet your needs. Contact us today to make the switch to better banking. Homeland Community Bank. Banking by the people, for the people. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hello, I'm Bruce Daniel. I've lived in Cannon County all my life. For the last 59 years, I've only made it across the highway. I married my wife, Melody, in 1981. We hauled our first load of freight in 1983 with one truck and a couple old barred trailers. We found a way to make it. Our employees are the backbone of our company. Some of our team members have been with us for more than 30 years.
At DTC, we're constantly looking at ways to improve your quality of life, to help you make the most of all your connections, so that you'll have time for the things that matter most, whether at work or play.
Score the best connection with internet that slays. Receive a free month of service when you add or upgrade your internet package with DTC. It's a great time to get started.
Call or visit DTC online today and make the most of your connections.
Friendly, traditional banking at its best. It's what our customers have learned to expect at Citizens Bank, and we're always happy to deliver, with plenty of options for personal and commercial checking accounts, as well as a variety of loan types. We can help you achieve your financial goals, all with a friendly hometown smile. Citizens Bank at 407 Main Street and 61 Dixon Springs Highway in Carthage, 70 Cookeville Highway in South Carthage, and 530 Gordonsville Highway in Gordonsville. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
And welcome back to the Box Score, brought to you by Carthage Safeway. Murphy, we're blessed to have the sponsors that we do. We appreciate Todd and Angela stepping up, being our title sponsor, to give you and I a chance to talk basketball in the upcoming.
Yeah, what we love so much, and we couldn't do it without them. And it's all like a game, like an athletic game. Right. You know, it takes all parties to make it all come together.
Talk about the game that's coming up on Thursday night that we'll be taping and we'll replaying. It's going to be Smith County and Cannon County. Right now, Smith County is in 5AA, Cannon County is in 9AA. They'll be in the same district next year, but not this year, as it'll be the Owls and Lady Owls traveling over to Woodbury. Murphy, that is a special place to play. It's one of the smaller gyms that we play in, but it's always a great atmosphere.
Yeah, that's why we can't ever host a district tournament. It only seats about 1,000 people, but it's a great place to be on Tuesday and Friday nights in particular in the winter, because the folks over there, the fans, they love their basketball in a huge way.
Huff and Puff Trucking sponsoring that game. We appreciate them doing that as well. Let's look at the replay dates for that. It'll be on Christmas Eve at 1 p.m., then on Christmas Day at 7 p.m., on the day after Christmas on the 26th and 27th at 7 p.m. as well. You can catch that Smith County and Cannon County a replay of that game from over in Woodbury.
And you behave yourself, Terry, because you're going to be on the other side of the gym where the cameras are pointing
right
for that replay. So.
Right. I'll put Seth Hackett, the better looking of us two, on the radio. I'll put him front and center. Let's look at the upcoming Cannon County games. And when you look, Murphy, they're Kerry Malone Classic, which is in Lebanon. I know in talking to Coach Nave, he was talking about, hey, he's going to Lebanon. I think they play Lebanon maybe on Friday, but there'll be some very quality competition. There'll be some 4A teams, some 3A teams. So stepping up in classification. But I think, in talking to Coach Patrick and Coach Nave both, for the girls and boys for Cannon County, they're doing that to toughen them up for the district, for the postseason run as well.
Absolutely. We play in somewhat of a smaller, maybe not as strong on the hardwood as some schools are, district. And consequently, that's why you see Warren County and White County and Lebanon on the schedule, teams like that, to better prepare them for another run at the state tournament.
Looking at the DeKalb County games that are coming up, they're heading up to Sparta to play in the Frank's Christmas Shootout. Have not seen the bracket for that. It's December the 18th through the 21st. But when you look, DeKalb County, of course, not far away from Sparta, a good, close place to go. Gives them an opportunity to play some teams. I noticed when I looked at that bracket earlier, I didn't memorize all the games. I think there's 8 boys and 8 girls. But you've got kind of a slice of the pie of the different teams, not only in the Upper Cumberland, but throughout the state and maybe even out of the state that play in that give you excellent competition. And you're 20, 25 miles away from Smithville to there. And of course, if you lived on that end of where the golf course is, you'd be even closer to Sparta.
Hop, skip. Right. I have a question though. Is Frank's a eatery or is that a hot dog?
No, that's an eatery there,
okay.
And it's not far from the school for sure. And I'm sure DeKalb County with Brandy Alley and Joey Agee excited about heading to that tournament. Looking at the upcoming Gordonsville games, very familiar tournament that started last year, the DTC Christmas Classic at Gordonsville. They'll play that on Friday and Saturday, and then again on Monday. They'll have 5th and 6th place games, 7th and 8th place games, of course championship and consolation, which is 3rd and 4th. Murphy, there's a lot of different teams. if you are a basketball junkie, go to Gordonsville High School. You can start about 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, and you go for 12 hours. Justin and Nick got to do that last year when we did those games here on DTC. And I don't know that they wanted to see basketball for a couple of weeks after they did that, because that was a lot of basketball in one day.
Well, the upside to it for local fans, it's local teams, and they'll get to see a bunch of squads from the immediate coverage area that DTC takes care of.
And then Gordonsville's boys with Greg Bibb will be heading up to Sevierville for the Winterfest shootout. There's some awfully tough teams in that as well, and I'm sure that's what, Coach is getting his team ready to go against the district wars of Pickett County and Clay County and Red Boiling and, those type Clark Range, getting ready for when January 1st rolls around, it'll be district time.
And it's events like that have paid dividends in the past, and I'm sure it will again this year too. There's some really good basketball in Upper East Tennessee.
And when you look at that, Murphy, you see teams that you don't see all year, which I think helps you, because sometimes when you get in postseason, maybe not in the district, but sometimes in the region or the sub-state or the state tournament, you see somebody that has a different style than you play.
Absolutely, and all of those high school athletes that have been moving to Middle Tennessee from Chicago and Los Angeles, those guys and gals play basketball too.
Right.
So you're going to get to see a lot of talent that maybe you haven't seen.
Smith County boys and girls, the unenviable task going to Tampa Bay, Florida for cold weather, I'm sure, for that Christmas Invitational, 136 teams in that.
That's hard to believe, Terry. 136 teams. That's a lot of high school kids.
To coordinate that many venues, Murphy, had to be tough. We've got the bracket for that. The girls and the boys will play on the 27th. I think that's at 7:30 and at 9 in the morning after they've traveled all day on the 26th. They're leaving at like 8 o'clock that morning, 12-hour drive maybe to Tampa or however long that is. So they may be a little dead-legged, Murphy, when they get down to Tampa for that tournament. They play on Friday, Saturday, skip on Sunday, and then play again on Monday.
But that Thursday one at 7:30 in the morning is going to be awfully tough.
It definitely will be. Let's look at Watertown's upcoming games. They're going back to the Gatlinburg area to play in the Smoky Mountain Classic. That'll be before Christmas, the 19th through the 21st. And then a tournament that we've gotten used to through the years. They always play it between Christmas and New Year's, and that's that Aflac Christmas Classic that they host. Of course, Watertown has got their main gym, but right beside that, they've got a big auxiliary gym that's got good seating. And they've also got the old high school, which is Watertown Middle School, to host that event.
I have one question. Will the Duck be there? The Aflac Duck?
I don't know. Did you know Aflac got started in Lebanon, Tennessee?
I did not.
Yes.
I was wondering what the connection was.
It sure did. It got started in Lebanon, Tennessee. In fact, Jim and Vonda Lancaster, my kinfolk, were good friends with those people that started Aflac many, many years ago.
How about that? There's your history lesson
there you
for
go.
today.
We want to thank our fine sponsors, and for Justin Malden and Terry Collins and Murphy Fair, Merry Christmas from all of us to all of you, and we hope you have a good one. And you've been watching The Box Score on DTC3.